Yeah. Absolutely. Instead of having entire forest land in one area, you'd be easily to surround that. But now there's a guy behind you, there's a guy to the left, guy to the right. You're getting shot on all sides.
It's totally confusing.
So it's total confusion on all sides. So it sort of worked into our advantage.
Could you show that picture of the placement of the guns again?
Which version do you want?
The enlarged one that Winters.
Oh, the one that Winters did? Yeah, because you took the. Okay, this is that. This is the one he did.
Oh wow.
So actually, here I'll put it's like this because we're in the field here. That's the field. And you got a bit of shadow happening there. And it shows, Lieutenant Winters, Lieutenant Compton coming down these hedgerows down here. There's two hedgerows over the side. What's lovely is that this field really hasn't changed.
Yeah, it's
You could totally walk it and
powerful.
yeah.
And so this was.
This is the field we're in now. Okay, so his, like I said, he wasn't an artist. Let's get that straight. So Le Grand Chemin are these buildings here that he calls it Le Grand Chemin, and that's over yonder that way. That's where Colonel Strayer had his headquarters, the 2nd Battalion. They came down Compton, the first hedgerow coming in that way.
Oh boy, I need to get this video.
And then you never remember this?
I'm panicking.
Hold on, let's take a pause.
No,
It's
here
no
we go.
motivation.
Wait on you, Brian. No problem. You got plenty of time.
I'm sorry.
And then
Take your time, Brian.
So Lieutenant Compton will split up with his group. He's got Don Malarkey with him and Bill Garnier, and they're going to go off. And then Winters will take his second group, and he set up 2 machine gun positions also to lay down covering fire. And that will be out in the field that way, and one in the corner behind that hedgerow.
So what size element is this again?
He's got 12 guys.
Okay.
12 guys all together. So he basically, once Compton, this is like a really bad map. It's just not scaled at all. But, after the fact, he had placed these machine guns back here. So that's what we're dealing with here. And he places these 4 guns in the positioning that we see here. So he's got 3 guns facing out that way and 1, for some reason, facing out that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where we're a little iffy. And then later on, guys have made their own maps through the years.
Now, when did he make that map there?
Was June 22nd.
Okay, so this was pretty quick after it
Yeah,
happened.
this is from his
Diary?
His diary.
Okay.
From June 22nd, 1944, where he typed that up.
Well, I was just wondering how long after. Right?
So already, and stuff had gone on. I mean, they had the fights at Saint-Côme. They went, they had already been in Carentan. A lot had gone on already. So he's basically going back after the fact and going from memory. I don't know about you, but a day after, don't ask me what I ate yesterday for lunch.
Sure.
And
Is there another drawing from
Yes.
the dig that they kind of figured out exactly what it was?
There's not a drawing of the dig. All that's going to, they just finished the dig like 2 weeks ago. So basically, this is the version that you find in a lot of books. Okay. So what they get right, though, is the machine gun position's all right. So you got 1 U.S. So I'm orienting this the correct way. There's that hedgerow back here, 2 hedgerows that are back there. That opening is supposed to be right here. That's behind me. And see, on this map, they place 1 gun facing off to, what would that be? Maybe towards the north.
And presumably that was based off of Dick Winters'
It's
drawing.
exactly. So then people rewrite history. So they take the diary version, they decide, well, they put a gun that way. All right. But then
But tactically, that may not make
it
sense
makes
because
no
where's
sense.
it going?
Exactly. It's we've
there's
scratched
no
our head.
target. I mean,
Well,
there's-
there still would be a target. I mean, there's I can make up a target if you want me to, and people have done that. So it's covering exit number 3.
Right.
There's other things covering exit number 3. Right. All right. And then Winters. Well, I won't use this one. Winters drew this one later on with Michel de Valavier, so Charles' dad, and his uncle, Louis. And so, if you observe this, he now places the guns in a straight line.
I see.
All right, and there's those 2 hedgerows. This is a nice one, well-detailed. Winters' route, Compton's route, getting into the field, flanking attack. And then later on, Malarkey in 2001, and basically jotted some more details to it.
Basically verified it.
And basically sort of checked it. So we go with this. Now with these digs, what's cool is that we haven't found any evidence of a gun actually being placed out in the corner out there.
Could you tell us or give us an idea of what the artifacts are that we'll be expecting to see at some point?
It's kind of shells, buckles,
Spent casings.
spent casings, yeah, casings of 105s and
Is that what they found was the 105 casing?
105 case, yeah.
So that
we're
kind
pretty-
of supports.
Supports it.
What happened?
Again, but this place was used afterwards also as a dump. That's another problem. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, well, sure.
There's plenty of dumps everywhere. At the end, the American Army was digging holes and just.
We did the same thing. Right?
We do it all the time, you know. So you could dig under your feet right now. You'll find stuff from the war.
You
but
served?
It doesn't mean I have not served. No,
Okay, you sound like you have.
no. I just talk a good talk.
You know, that's good. That's good. I'm a lawyer. I appreciate that stuff.
Make it up as we go, right, Tim? Exactly. Just make it up as we go.
You sound like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
If you just speak with conviction, you know they'll believe
The
it.
Japanese came in that way, right?
No.
Was it Hirohito and Tojo?
No, you were talking about
Where did Mel
Yamasuka.
Gibson come on his horse with his face? That time?
Who's that?
Mel Gibson.
Braveheart.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
But he gave that
One, everything
speech. Yeah, he gave that. William Wallace.
A lot of
Yes.
movies were shot here.
A lot of movies.
That second map came from
The one.
his diary as well.
This one, no. This is the one that he drew on a visit that he came back to Brecourt and saw Charles' dad visited.
They were like
This
sitting
is-
in the office or
Yeah, they
something.
were like sitting around just shooting the shit and, you know, redoing the battle to get it right. Because by this point, the series had already come out. And so, what's interesting, I spoke, when Dale Dye was here the last time, Captain Dale, and, you know, because he sort of helped out on the filming. And he says, you'll notice that you never see how the guns are positioned in the series. Watch the scene again. There's no telling. Because again, you didn't want to take one version and stick to it. So he goes, we did it the way we don't know which way the guys are coming in. It's like, yeah, it does. And I rewatched it and I said, yeah, can't tell.
Yeah, you
They
always
could be in a
wanna-
straight line or they could be on a curve.
You always
L
want
shape.
to make both parties happy.
Try
Exactly.
to appease
Will,
everybody.
will we be able to see? I'm not gonna win, but just the outsides of where the soldiers stayed and stuff like that.
What do you mean where they stayed?
Up at the
On
farmhouse.
Brecourt?
The
Yeah,
farm.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, you can see. Yeah.
You can see inside.
I saw that special on TV where they interviewed everybody and they went through the farmhouse.
Yeah.
It was pretty fascinating.
Which one? The
I don't know
Hang
which
Tough?
one- I don't know if that one was it or not, but they had a German officer who was in
Who was shot
Brecourt
in
at the
there.
time, and one of the paratroopers took him out, and you can still see the blood on the
There's a blood
floor.
stain on the floor.
Yeah, on the ceramic floor, and there's some bolt holes in Brecourt too. So it did, and some mortar blasts
On the
against
side of
old-
the-
on the
yeah.
side. You'll see
Can
when
you
go
show
back.
that stuff?
Oh yeah, we'll show you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I'm morbid, but some of these other
Yeah.
people might be.
Yeah, yeah. They can stay back if they want, if they don't have the stomach for it.
So all Charles will invite us over. He's going to have his Calvados toast.
Oh boy, more Calvados.
Calvados toast.
We had some of that last night.
You guys should come to the
This is-
Ongoville this afternoon.
This is.
Invite them over to Ongoville if they like
I
these
don't know what their
stories.
plans are.
They don't have any plans.
They got plans on tour. But they're more than welcome to come to Anglican.
So real quick before we go do that, I know we were walking down and then Kyle caught us, but could you just give a quick overview, because we came in after you talked about it, just on the tactical side of
How it's taken out.
yes, just real quick. We don't have to walk down. Just
Okay,
from,
well, basically,
from a high level.
Winters came down the field in between. There's two hedgerows down there, okay?
Right.
So, seen from above, let's pull out this little map here and let's do it that way. Poof, like this.
Yes.
Correct.
Where are we right now?
We are here somewhere. We're about right there.
Yes.
Okay. Guns are facing that way. They're behind you,
Right.
facing out towards the beach. Le Grand Chemin is up there. So Winters actually came down in between these two hedgerows originally to check it out.
Right.
All right, so he comes down, checks it out, sees the positioning of the guns. He gets the idea. That's where he will go back to the Grand Chemin, come out with a plan. He's got 12 guys with him, and he splits them up into two groups, basically. He takes one group, Lieutenant Compton takes the other group, and then he's got two machine gun positions that he's going to set up. One on the corner up here to put flanking fire onto the guns, and one back here somewhere. All right. Compton will go down one line, enter the trench system here, and he's right next to gun number one. All right, so that's on our version. We put the gun here. He's just on the other side there, hiding in the hedge, and they will basically come in across that corner, like sort of like this.
Sure.
Enter the trench and start putting grenade and gunfire onto gun position number one. While that's happening, Winters and his group will enter the trench system from the opening. So now you got a two-prong attack on the first gun. One coming from the front, one coming from the side. That's where Popeye Wynn got dinged. All right, entering the trench there, and he gets one in the butt.
When you speak of this opening
This
is,
opening was there where the
It's-
little gate is
okay,
there. Yeah,
okay.
that opening was there. So he enters that way, and once they're in the trench, they basically just start cleaning whatever's in there. Germans are caught completely by surprise. There was also a machine gun position that was up in the corner here. We know that for a fact now. They found casings. They were taken out, and the Germans, of course, were overpowered at this point. They actually started to retreat back across the field, and that's where they gunned those guys down, to put it mildly.
Yeah.
Gun positions taken out, but they don't have TNT on them. All right, so they have to wait for that. Then Winters will go down the trench at first on his own. He sees that there are two Germans setting up a machine gun down this trench. He drops them both, goes back to the first position, and reorganizes the attack basically just by throwing grenades and small arms fire to get into position number
But
2.
they still haven't disabled number 1.
They're not disabled yet. Those only start getting ammunition by gun number 2.
I see.
And they have to wait a half an hour because everything I just said in the last minute
Right.
took a while.
30
Okay.
minutes or so,
It
right?
was about 30 minutes. So,
Okay.
and then they have to wait an extra 30 minutes because one of the guys had to go back to the Grand Chemin to get ammo
TNT.
and TNT. And ammo, the guys were spent.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
spent everything they had. So they had to wait at gun number 2. And that's when I said it, the Germans back here thought that gun number 3 was under attack. So they were actually firing on their own guys across the field. And so that sort of helped out Winters and his men. And then finally they do gun number 3. And at that point, they started to spike the guns
I see.
slowly and surely. And it's only by gun number 4. So Winters doesn't actually take out gun number 4. And that's well done in the series. That was Lieutenant Ronald Spears that came out with 5 of his guys of Dog Company. And so I did explain that at first because you missed it. You arrived late. But Charles really has it to heart, and his dad had it to heart, that the first men to encounter the guns of Brecourt were members of Dog Company. That they fell upon them, and unfortunately Dog Company got pretty much decimated encountering these guns. And he basically, Spears and his men went back to the Grand Chemin, told Colonel Strayer about all this, and Winter showed up and he took the reins. So it makes sense at the end when Spears does arrive and he says, "Can I get gun number 4?" There's a bit of a payback, you know, to get that last gun.
And at that point, the reason there were only 12 guys, those are the only number that they could
That's all they had.
reconsolidate at that point.
That's all
from
they
the
got
chaos
from
during
about
the
70,
jumps.
75 guys that actually dropped in with that company. There's 12 that he mustered up in and around St. Mary Glees.
Yeah, they landed
The
over.
other guys we know of also, you got one along McClung, you got Forrest Guth. These other guys, they're fighting along with 82nd Airborne. They'll end up at La Ferme Marmillon.
Because they were just joining up with
Yeah, it was
whatever.
very ad hoc.
Yeah.
Well, you did a project on this, right?
Oh yeah, I wrote a paper about the importance of D-Day and the lessons you can learn.
And they were lost. Were they not lost? I mean, you're running into anybody, man. You're just happy to see a friendly face speaking your language.
Well, the paratroopers were all over the place.
On both sides, yeah, British, Canadian, American, everybody was pretty. But again, as we explained before, it sort of helped because you're not concentrating all your forces into one small area. All of a sudden, you know, where are they coming from?
Everywhere.
Everywhere, exactly, like ants.
Yeah, it could be one guy or it could be an entire group of guys. You don't know.
And there's so much confusion. I mean, there's so much buildup to June 6th, even with what the French underground had done and cutting communication wires, changing road signs around. Just simple little acts like that will confuse. It's kind of funny because we're drawing a lot of parallels with what's happening today with Ukraine and Russia. And the first things the Ukrainians did is flip road signs around. And it confuses an army.
It's the simplest thing to
It's
do.
the simplest thing you can do, and it just screws. And I don't know, have you been driving around? Who's driving in your group? You're driving?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I got Google Maps.
Okay.
They had those on D-Day too.
But
had a lot of them.
But you notice how you could easily get lost
Oh,
in here.
yeah.
It's like this is a maze of hedgerows, and you don't see
I mean, I was
squat.
stationed in Germany before.
Oh, were
Google
you?
Maps, so of
Yeah.
course I got lost a lot.
Yeah.
So imagine in the middle of the night, you know, dark, no lights, no Google, no phones. These
No
guys
night vision
found it.
goggles.
No
We
night,
had
no night vision goggles.
No
absolutely.
leadership. No leadership. 'Cause
No
everybody's
leadership.
Scattered, so you got guys acting on your own with, PFCs
And just if you
working
outrank
together.
me, well,
Right.
I'm
Well,
Well,
with
that's
you,
it.
man.
And a good
You're
point
in
with the
charge,
U.S.
man.
military is the U.S. military is smart enough to have the non-commissioned officer corps be able to give orders
That's
and continue the
Absolutely
missions.
true.
Right.
And what's also a really smart thing about June 6th is that every airborne was made aware of what the big picture was.
So they
Which-
could focus. Like,
Exactly. So you
act
can focus
independently.
depending on, you know, oh, I'm with him. He was supposed to take out that bridge. Well, I'm with you. And so we know what the big picture is. As before that, it would be you do this, you do that, you do that. And then if you're lost, you wouldn't be able to readjust your plan, as now everybody knew what everybody's job
I got a
was.
question for you. So clearly we know that the airborne troops did know the big mission, but a lot of the folks landing on Omaha Beach or Utah didn't have the big picture
No.
necessarily, correct?
No, not necessarily. No.
That's
And
what I thought.
The airborne guys, well, they're shock troops. You know that. We drop
Shock
them
'em
in.
off.
We drop them, you know, behind enemy lines with about 3 days worth of ammo and food. You know,
Hope they
rations.
get it done.
And they got to hold. They got to hold the line until reinforcements arrive. And so the airborne guys will only leave Normandy about a month and a half later. Yeah, I think they go back in mid-July, a lot of them. And then they await their next mission.
Refit, wait for the next one.
That's right. The next one will be Operation Market Guard.
When did the
September.
gliders come in? Did they go in at the same time as the airborne?
Some did, but a lot will come in during the early hours of June 6th. We're talking like, you know, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning once you start getting a little bit of light happening and you start bringing in. You need vision, especially for gliders.
Yeah, especially because you can barely even steer
Oh, look,
it.
try to land something out here. This is a glider. It's coming in at 90 miles an hour. You know, it's made of paper mache.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
Controlled
1350. It's a controlled crash. It's a
Getting
one
into
use only.
hedgerows, crashing
So
into
imagine hitting a hedgerow at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, and they had those like Rommel's asparagus,
plein de
those
voitures
barbed
bloquées
wire
à cause
fields.
de deux voitures entre qui sont
Ils sont du groupe.
d'ici.
Qui sont avec.
Eh ben, non, mais quand les voitures empêchent
Oh, okay.
un bus de passer.
D'accord. But yeah, there's somebody blocking the road. There's a bus that's
yeah, I heard a
passing down the
horn.
road, and we have to like move cars.
Should we? Do you have the TNT?
Yeah, should you blow? Do you want to go? Yeah.
Some thermite trials, maybe.
We've got 12 of us here.
This is my friend Kyle Chandler.
Pleasure to meet you.
Kyle's
Nice to meet you.
with
My wife,
Catherine and
Thank
Jeff
you.
and the crew. They came
We've
with
met
them.
her.
They're all very,
Ok.
yeah, they all came from the States.
Thanks for having us.
Merci beaucoup. It's an honor to be here and
Non, non,
See
je
this.
dire, this time is very important for you, I think.
Yeah.
It's very important the new generation knows this story.
Yeah, absolutely.
the problem in the United States, and something that Tim has worked very hard to address, and lots of other people here, is that they don't teach a lot of these things in school.
There is the same problem in France.
Yeah, it's the same problem with France. I think,
Yeah,
you know, I don't really blame it either. I'm like, you know, I do this for a living. I mean, you know, and it's great. You're a group, you're coming, you're going to follow me around. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty. But if you're a teacher, you got to present how many hundreds of years of history. I mean, this is fun for you because this is Brecourt. We're here. That's, you know, we're getting into the nitty-gritty. But if I'm in a classroom situation and I got, you know, kids like
yeah,
that
I'm in
looking
high
at me,
school right now, and we did like 2 days for World War II
Yeah, it's
because there's so much
Right,
stuff you
that's
have to
it, that's
cover. And I was disappointed because I love like history and
In
I
general,
don't in general, specifically like the 1900s, and to just skip over all of that was like, I don't.
again, you know, as a teacher, you got a job to do.
Yeah.
Even ourselves, I go on full day trips with like people, and they want to see all of D-Day sites. I can't do it.
Can't do it.
So I sort of have to skim over like Pegasus and Sword and Golden. You know, I call it the appetizer tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a
You
list
have to
of all
come
the
back
places.
and spend like 3-4 days with
Yeah,
me,
you
and
need
we
a
get
good
fun.
3 or 4 days here.
Well, you guys